Hello and welcome. Today in this lesson, we are going to learn about future perfect continuous tense. So, let's start with it. When I say how to use future perfect continuous tense, what comes in mind is this. Why and when or where do we use this tense? This particular tense is not that common when it comes to speaking, but yes, while writing, this is used much. Okay, if you compare it with speaking and writing, this tense is of more use in writing and less when you talk about speaking. Now, the major usage of this tense is to emphasize on an ongoing action in future. Now, what do we mean by this? This timeline shows what I mean, and we are going to look at a few examples which will give us complete clarity on what are we talking about. Now, when you see past, present, and future, we are saying that this particular tense, that is future perfect continuous tense, is used to talk about an ongoing action in future, an action that is ongoing in future. So let's say, for example, this is the duration, this is the span, okay? And it has been going on and on and on up to a particular point of time. Okay, it started from one point and it went on to a particular point of time or span of time. That is what future perfect continuous tense tells us about or is used for. Let's look at the example and the pattern for the same. The pattern goes that you will have your subject intact using will, have, been plus ing. Now, fourth form of verb is the ing form of verb, and ing is used whenever you find continuous tense, right? So subject plus will plus have been plus fourth form, then comes your object or complement, and then comes your time reference. Now, time reference is period of time using for. Period of time, because as I said, let's look back, the span, for how long did the action go on, from when to when. Instead of telling that, we tell the span, okay, for 5 years, for 2 hours, okay. So we are going to make use of for. For example, on Friday, they will have been living in this flat for a year. So on Friday, now let's look at the timeline, guys. Let's look at the timeline. If I move back and if I say on Friday, this is Friday here. On Friday, they will have been living here for a year, which means a year back they started. And now by Friday or on Friday, it will have been a year that they would have been living. So we are talking about future, no point. We're talking about future, there is no point. But when I say on Friday, they will have been living in this flat for a year, I'm talking about an action that started, went on in continuation in future. I'm talking about future, ongoing action of future. Because this is coming Friday I'm talking about, right? So this is the major usage. Let's look at another example. And the next example says, by January, the coming January, I'm talking about the coming January. Abhi, there's no January, okay? I will have been working in this organization for 2 years. So in the coming January, this is the time span. I started with 2 years. It will have been 2 years working in this organization. So this is the accurate pattern of using future perfect continuous tense. Moving ahead, let's talk about negative structures. Now, as I said, that when you talk, you can talk about positive aspects, you can talk about negative aspects. So this is how you will frame negative sentences using future perfect continuous tense. Nothing much of use. The only thing that we add on is not. Okay, so the pattern is same, learners. The pattern is same. Subject, will, and you just have to add not to it. And remember, people commit this mistake. They add not after have. We are not going to commit this mistake. We have to use not just after the helping verb, initial helping verb, that is will. So I cannot say I will have not been working. No, I will not have been working. Okay, I won't have been working. So you can combine, you can join will not, and you can make it won't. Okay, if you want to use it in an abbreviated form, you can use it will not as won't. Okay, so it will become, by 2 o'clock we'll not have been playing in the ground for 2 hours. Now here will has been attached to the subject. You can even do this if you want to make another contraction. You can join these two as well, that is your subject and the helping verb will, or you can say by 2 o'clock we won't have been. Okay, it's up to you. Will not have been is better, it sounds better, right? So will not have been playing in the ground for 2 hours, or I'll not have been playing in the ground for 2 hours. Okay, so you just have to use the contracted versions and just add not to it. Okay, let's have a look at another example. We have another example and it says, when the actress is 40, she'll not have been working with a new director for 2 years. So she'll, which is the contracted version for she will. So I have clearly stated here. Okay, so when the actress is 40, she'll not have been working with the director for 2 years. So she'll not, which means for 2 years span, let's say this is the day when she turns 40, and for the past 2 years in coming year is 40, when she turns 40, that's future. In future only, because we don't know about 2 years, coming 2 years, right? So in future only, she will not have been working with him or her, or whosoever the director is, for 2 years. Okay, now when she turns 40, and we don't know, it is coming future. Okay, so this is the usage of this tense in negative structures. Now when I say negative structures, the next point that comes to my mind is, what if that you have to ask questions to someone? What would you do then? So when you have to ask questions, it is not much of difficulty, learners. What happens is you just have to focus on this pattern of yours, and the pattern says that instead of subject plus your helping verb that we generally use, you have to make use of your helping verb first, and your subject would follow your helping verb later on. Okay, because only then you can frame a question. If you have to frame a question, I say it is raining. It is raining. That is a full stop. I'm just informing, I'm telling. But when I have to ask a question, I say, is it raining? Is it raining? Which means my helping verb comes first and my subject comes later on. Alright? So this is the same concept that we need to follow here. Will come first, subject will come later on, and the rest pattern remains the same. Let's have a look at the example and we will have more clarity on it. Will I have been working at my company for 3 years by next month? Now this is, earlier I just told you, the same example I told you, that by next month or by January, I will have been working in this organization for 2 years. I told, right? There was a full stop with that sentence. I will have been working. But here it is, will I have been working at my company for 3 years by next month? Will I have been working at my company for 3 years by next month? It's a question I'm asking. I am not sure about it, so I'm asking a question. Okay, so this is how you use while asking questions. Another example that we can take up is, will she have been waiting for 30 minutes by 5 o'clock? Will she have been? Again, a question. If I have to tell you, for example, if I just inform that you need to hurry up, she will have been waiting for 30 minutes by 5 o'clock. So again, this is something that I know and I'm informing. But if I have to ask you a question, I would say, will she have been waiting for 30 minutes by 5 o'clock? And then you question, oh my goodness, yes, right? So this is when you start questioning. Please remember, always that helping verb would come first and subject would follow it. Alright, do we have another example? No, we don't have any other example. So I hope this pattern is clear. When to use future perfect continuous tense, it is for an ongoing action in future, and we did positive sentences, negative structures, and asking question patterns. Keep practicing, practice these, frame your own sentences, and I shall see you soon in your next session. Thank you so much, learners. Keep learning and keep growing.